This podcast project is an initiative created and offered by the non-profit organization The Podcast Factory Org, with sponsorship from Transforma Brussels Innovation Playground. Since January 2025 and for the next 5 years, we are also sponsored by Plug-in Company, our preferred charging station and cart operator. The Podcast Factory Org is very proud to be a member of CAIA, Coalition of Ecopreneurs, and to collaborate with the Love Health Center. You can find all episodes of all our podcasts on the website whatsyourstory.be.
You're listening to the Podcast Factory.
Today, we're bringing you a very special episode because, as we've done every year for the past 2 years, we're joining the Podcasthon movement. So what is Podcasthon? For 7 days, thousands of podcasters will unite for a global charity event. Between the 15th and the 21st of March 2025, each podcaster will dedicate an episode to a charity on their podcast channel to highlight the incredible work of people who often volunteer in the shadows, contributing tirelessly to society for various causes. They truly deserve to be celebrated. This podcast, above all, and don't forget this, listeners, is a call to action for donations. For this project, it's absolutely crucial. I stress again, this is a call for donation. They really need your support. And you'll see that today's discussion is more than worthy of your contributions because it concerns everyone. This podcast is being offered in English and French. We are today in the offices of Transforma Brussels. I have Françoise Vamecq at my mic, and we will talk about Oncia Foundation today. Hi, welcome, Françoise.
Thank you, and I really would like first to warmly welcome the Podcast Factory Org to invite me to present Oncia Community.
Let's begin with our classic question, Françoise. From your teenage dream to today, what have you realized?
My aim when I was teenager was to be an explorer in order to meet other countries, to meet other cultures, to meet diversity. And what I realize today, I guess I travel a lot in order, in fact, to open my mind, to meet these other cultures. And today, it's not other cultures, it's more focusing on the people who are in stress. It's another kind of purpose, but somewhere similar. So today, my aim is really to help people having cancer.
And what is your role precisely today?
I'm the co-founder of Oncia Community and I'm managing director.
Can you tell a bit more about Oncia Foundation?
Yes, I could tell you about Oncia Community. So Oncia Community is a public utility foundation engaged to take care of people affected by the cancer along the entire pathway.
Okay.
So not only the patients, but also the families and the loved ones, all affected by this cancer. Maybe what I can do before talking about Oncia Community is to start with a flashback, sharing with you some personal experiences, which is at the heart of this foundation. So I can say that I have a wonderful life. I have a very nice family, husband, 3 kids. I'm really passionate by my job. The life was wonderful until 2017. So at that time, my life flips upside down. So I remember well, it was the 21st of March. I was in my bathroom, looking at the mirror, and I see something suspect. It was not the first time, but I was not really stressed. I was in a denial a little bit, because I was feeling not sick. I was in the best of my shape. I was just coming back from India, Ladakh, where we did our first 5,000 peak in the mountains with my 3 kids and my husband. And yes,
everything went well, and then
I realized that I was caught up by the statistics, and in fact that Belgium has the most record of breast cancers, the worst records of breast cancer. So I would like to ask you maybe questions to you and to the auditors. Have you an idea of the number of persons who will be touched by the cancers during their lifetime?
Cancers or breast cancer?
Cancer.
Oh my God,
more
I
globally.
think it's a huge amount of people.
So 1 out of 2, out of 3,
I would dare to say 1 out of 3.
and you are very close. So it's 1 out of 2 for men and 1 out of 3 for women. And it's mainly for men, prostate cancer, lung cancer, and colorectal cancer, and for women, breast, lung, and colorectal cancer.
Lung cancer as well?
Yes, and it's more about behavior, change in our behaviors, and also the aging. But what we see is that more and more there are younger people having cancer. For instance, the doctor of my friend, 25 years, with very aggressive breast cancers. It's horrible.
Yeah.
So we are all concerned by the cancers.
Mm-hmm.
And it will knock at our door
One time or
the other. Maybe not personally, but indirectly with your loved one, friends, colleagues, neighbor.
It's true, because when I was a little girl, cancer was a faraway story. I didn't know anyone with cancer in my family, my friends. It was far away from us. And now my mother has cancer, my auntie has cancer, my grandfather died of cancer. So it's like coming closer and closer, and it's horrifying. We're scared. Yeah.
So true, it's very scary.
Mm-hmm.
And there is much talk about medical advancement and research progress, and it's very great. So on the other side, they give us the hope to cure or at least extend the life. And yes, they brings a lot of hope. But today I want to highlight the fact that there are also another side of the cancer, the hidden part of the cancers. So what I would like to talk today is the life beyond the disease, beyond the cancer. And people sometimes do not realize that cancer is not only undergoing heavy treatments, it's much more than that.
There is a psychological effect as well, I think.
Yeah, so at the time of my diagnosis, I was fully lost. My life flips upside down. So for the first time of my life, I was afraid of dying.
That's the first thing that comes up in our mind when we hear cancer.
Yeah. It was so scary. At the hospital, I tried to find the best options of treatment. I tried to understand the medical words, but I could not understand anything. I googling on internet, it was horrible. And I come to realize that I have to sacrifice a part of my quality of life to fight against this disease, who is really insidious and very silencious.
Mm-hmm.
And yes, I was fully lost. At home, I was fully lost as well. I was waiting for medical result. It was really stressed. I have pain. I was overwhelmed, consumed by anxiety, stress. I'm a mother. I have 3 kids. How can I take care of my kids? How to regain a self-image? You got surgery in the deepest way of your feminities. And yes, it was my friends. They do not know how to react. And so you isolate. I was socialized, isolate. And also my house was a chaos, a lot of paper, administrative papers. There was no sense for me, but could also impact people with a financial burden. So
Exactly.
I really need education, I really need information, I really need support, compassionate support. And at that time, I couldn't find any. And that's a real problem.
And in the hospitals, weren't you visited by someone who could help you with that?
So I can say that I was really lucky because I have my family around me. At the hospital, I have a very trusty oncologist, and that's really important, who helped me. And also, I went to Vie Là. Vie Là is a house, an integrative health center in Belgium, close to the Hospital Saint-Pierre in Otigny. And we organized with my company for several years a rock against cancers in favor of Vie Là. I knew Vie Là by word. I didn't know really what they are doing.
Okay, because Vie Là, we can hear the word villa, the house, but it's the same in French to say la vie là, this life here.
Yeah, that's correct.
Good. I didn't knew it before today. La Vie Là. So I'm very curious to hear how they helped you.
And I didn't know as well, but when I passed through the door of La Vie Là, it was the wow effect.
Mhm.
You enter into a compassionate, a very safe space where everybody is there to help you, to take care of you. I can do massage to reduce my pain. I can do acupuncture. I can do mindfulness in order also to cope with my stress. I can go with my kids to see a coach, a psychological coach, in order to understand how to take care of them. I could regain my self-image. I could retrieve social links with other patients. And it was a community. It was very, very great.
Mm-hmm.
And a lot of other therapies I cannot mention here, but it's really very huge programs in order to address all the needs of the patients.
Okay.
And I start again to laugh.
Thanks to La Vie Là.
Thanks to La Vie Là.
Mm-hmm.
And it was really helpful.
It gives hope, maybe.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
But who knows La Vie Là? As you mentioned, it's very rare. There are small initiatives like that. And I can ask you the question, do you know before I talk to you, La Vie Là or such
No.
houses in Belgium or
No.
overseas?
No, not at all. And I'm wondering who is helping my mother or my auntie right now with all those side effects of cancer. No, I didn't know it.
If you have a normal person navigating in this unknown world,
Medical world.
so of course, in Belgium you will benefit of a treatment. That's okay. But on the other side, who will take care of you? So if you have some stress, some pain, you can go to your general practitioners. But on my experience is that my general practitioners prescribe me medicines against stress. And it was not really helpful. And so people can go to their oncologist to talk about their pain, stress. But you have to know that a consultation of an oncologist, in average, takes about 20 minutes. And they will interrupt you after a few seconds. So how to deposit all your emotion? It's impossible. And so you can go to La Vie Là, but as we mentioned, nobody knows La Vie Là. Even the citizens, the oncologists, the patients, nobody knows this initiative. They are very rare. They are very local. It's all generally supported by a local initiative with no subvention from the public sectors. And that's a real problem. You can agree with me.
Mm-hmm.
That's a real problem. And that's the origin of the foundation.
Yeah. So the foundation that you represent today helps La Vie Là in other initiatives to become more known?
Yeah. So the goal is really to act global, so in the international landscape, and to ensure that every patient, every people affected by cancer can benefit from a comprehensive and patient-centric care along their pathway.
It's a very beautiful initiative.
So there are really a lack of centers, and this is a real problem. You must agree with me. We must rethink the cancer. And the goal is not just addressing the disease with medicines or technical protocols, but also address the person behind in all the dimensions of health. Physical support, emotional support, social support is really important. And there are more and more clinical evidences showing that addressing these aspects of health can help the patients and have a real positive impact, meaning that reducing side effects, improving the tolerance of treatments because it's really heavy treatments and some people abandon the treatments because it's very heavy, but also practically, concretely, reducing the recurrence of the cancer. So it's very crucial beyond technological or medical progresses, also to, as I said, humanizing cancer care.
We too often forget about that aspect.
So what we are doing at Oncia Community works in two ways. The first one is to raising awareness of the positive impact of having this compassionate care, what we call also integrative oncology. So have a global approach of the care. And so for that, we are consolidating all the publications, we are bridging the gap between the expert and the global community in order to promote this kind of care. And more practically, what we are doing as well in the second step is to help leading hospital, to create this kind of centers close to the hospital in order to have this type of care affordable for all the patients. So today we have a lot of concrete projects. So we are supporting centers like Vie Là, not only in Belgium, but also in Spain, but also in UK. We are exploring in US as well, in France. It's very inspiring.
I'm very impressed. Okay. So you are the managing director of Oncia Foundation. Can you explain a bit more about what is your day-to-day task? What are you doing exactly? So you're making the bridge between the hospitals and the different initiatives, but what else?
So I do not do that alone. In fact, I realized that during your life, you plant some seeds, and one day it's the time to collect the fruit of your life. I work at IBA. IBA is a company who manufactures equipment to treat and to diagnose cancer. And I was part in business development. I have a huge network in oncology. I decided to go to the office of my CEO, Olivier Legrand, from IBA. And I tell him what I tell you today. And it was fully convinced. Beyond technology and medical progresses, we have also to take care of the patients and to humanize cancer care. And we have this large network of oncologists. We have this large network of partners. We have our spirit of entrepreneurial spirit. And we have our patients for societal engagement. And so together with IBA, but also with partners, we could maximize the impact in order to touch more patients. So, for instance, this year we touch about more than hundreds of patients worldwide. But our ambition is to think big and to touch up to 10,000 patients by 2030 by helping hospitals to create this kind of centers.
You have contacts with all the hospitals in Belgium?
We have contact with a hospital in Belgium, but we have also contact with a hospital in Spain, as I mentioned, in France and in other countries. And we are working very close with the associations.
Okay.
And our goal is really not reinventing the wheel, but to benefit from the expertise of a global expert network in integrative oncology. As I mentioned, we bridge the gap and we organize, for instance, webinars, we organize visits in order to help people to faster implement in minimizing the risk and to faster the setup of this kind of centers. What we propose to the hospital, I would say, is the best model of support we can see around the world. And so we focus on a very large program of activities with mindfulness, physical activities, acupuncture, hypnosis, music therapy, rhythm-driven therapy, art therapy, nutrition, and so on. And so we help association and hospital to implement this kind of program. And we always focus on evidence-based activities, so to have the real impact for the patient. That's the first thing. The second thing is that we are fully convinced that the beauty and the connection with the nature is really essential for the health. And what we would like to develop is a safe space, a facility close to the hospital, but outside, separate of the hospital. So with an easy access for the patients to go there, but to have this break of the clinical environment and to enter into a compassionate environment, a safe environment outside this clinical environment. And that's really our focus. So we partner with Maggie. Maggie is a large network in UK with 30 centers, so they have a very huge experience and they help us. We are ambassadors of Maggie worldwide in order to inspire people to create this kind of environment for the patients and for the family. So in this facility, you could welcome the patients, but also the families. This type of facility is also focused to retrieve social links with a big kitchen, with a table. It's a mix of large room to reconnect, but also small,
to do something together.
But also small room where you could have a rest or isolate yourself if you need it.
In function of the need.
It's really to cope with the needs of the moment.
And so you exist since 2017, or what is the year that you started with?
The launch of the foundation was in February last year. So we worked a little bit before in order to think about what could be the vision and to prepare ourselves.
Okay.
But the official launch was in February 24.
Okay.
Yeah.
And so if I'm a patient and the oncologist tells me I have cancer, how can I come in contact with you or how can I get that help? Someone gonna tell me that La Vie Là or any foundation exists. How does it work?
So today we are supporting and we are creating new centers. So we are supporting patients through association and through hospitals.
Okay.
So if you are a patient, you could always contact us in order to know what is the centers closest to you in order to benefit from this care. The real problem is that today there are not enough centers. They are very rare. So what we are trying to do is really to expand and to support the growth of these centers in partnership with hospitals and with associations who are involved in that field.
But it's the hospital that will inform me that this exists.
Usually the referral is from the hospital,
Okay.
but if a patient needs to know where is the center close to him, he could always contact us. We will be more than happy to find the right structures to help him.
And where can they contact you? Can you give us maybe the website?
So you can go to our website, onciacommunity.org, and so there are all the contact.
So we go to the site and there we can contact you to get help on the human side behind the cancer.
Yeah.
Okay. Very
And
good.
the patient can contact us, but also hospitals, leading hospitals and associations in order to, or industrial partners, everybody who would like to help us to maximize the impact. So join forces to maximize the impact.
Okay. What can we do to help you get the word out there?
The first thing you can do, an easy part you can do, is to become our ambassador. So raise awareness about the lack of this kind of centers and how it is important to develop this kind of centers.
How can we do that?
So you can talk around you, you can inform, just talk around you, or what you can do as well is going to our LinkedIn on social media and like our post and be informed of the events and all the activities we are doing. But what we would like to do is, as I mentioned, be our ambassadors.
Spread the word out there. Share, like posts, talk about it. When you hear someone has cancer, mention that it exists. Yeah. So
it's really important that we raise awareness about the importance of such activity. As we mentioned, we will all face cancer one day or another.
If not we, it's someone we know.
Yeah, so it's really important
to be informed that it exists.
To be informed and to raise awareness of the importance of such centers and of such a care.
So I have a clear call to action to all the listeners of this podcast. Like onciacommunity.org, go to their LinkedIn page, like, share everything you can, because it's a very, very important initiative. So a clear call to action to all our listeners. And then we have another aspect. How does the funding work?
Today, we are really lucky because we have the chance that IBA is supporting all the operating costs of Oncia Community. Meaning that €1 you will donate will be fully used to care patients, so for the mission. And as I mentioned, today there are no subventions for the public sectors, nothing. And what I did not mention, you have to know that these centers give the care free of charge for the patients.
Oof, free, entirely
so
free.
These centers are a non-profit organization trying to look for fundings in order to be able to give free of charge this type of care, non-reimbursed today for the patients and for the families.
What can we do to help on that aspect? We can donate, I suppose.
Yeah, the main goal, I would say, is to support this organization in order that they can provide the needed care to the patients.
So I correct my call to action. There are 2 calls of action to all the listeners out there. You can spread the word, but you can also donate. It's a beautiful initiative that is very, very needed in this world. So donate and share and spread the word.
And to give you some concrete numbers, so for example, a care treatment is about 30 to 50 euros. But the global pathways, because it's not only one care, the global pathways cost about 500 to 1,000 euros. And these kind of centers can welcome, depending on the site of the center, they can welcome about 200. In England, it's about 2,000 patients a year. So they really need funds in order to operate, to run, and to give the care to the patients. So we really need your generosity, and this generosity can really make the difference for the patients.
Yes. Maybe, Françoise, I have another question for you. How did you find the name Oncia Community?
We think about it for a very long time.
Okay.
Oncia was because of oncology.
ON Oncology?
Oncology. And we put the A, Oncia, in order to represent the soft part of the cancer.
Okay.
That's for Oncia. So community is because we would like to create a community with all the stakeholders, association, hospital, public sectors, patient,
Family of patients.
of patient, for the mobilization of a global movement to redefine, to reshape cancer care.
Okay.
It's really important.
Okay.
So if you would like to understand more about this soft part of cancer care, you can go to our webinar on the Learn and Share page, and you can see webinars, you can see information, and you can find all you need in order to better understand what is integrative oncology, where are the centers, what are they doing. It will be very inspiring.
Okay, so thank you very much, Françoise, to have the time to explain us about Oncia Community.
And I would like again to thank you for the opportunity to present this very important topic, and thank you for the Podcast Factory org.
So to the listeners out there, it is a very, very important subject today. So please do spread the word, donate, and do your utmost best to get the word out there. onciacommunity.org.
Thank you very much.
You're listening to the Podcast Factory.
This podcast project is an initiative created and offered by the non-profit organization the Podcast Factory org, with sponsorship from Transforma Brussels Innovation Playground. Since January 2025 and for the next 5 years, we are also sponsored by Plug-in Company, our preferred charging station and cart operator. The Podcast Factory org is very proud to be a member of CAIA, Coalition of Ecopreneurs, and to collaborate with the Love Health Center. You can find all episodes of all our podcasts on the website whatsyourstory.be.